Why it sucks to be a Stormtrooper. You open your eyes for the very first time, and there's no soft light, no warm voice, and no mother waiting to scoop you up and whisper your name. In fact, there is no name. What you get is a number, clipped and sharp, barked at you by someone in armor who looks just like you. And that number is the only identity you will ever be allowed to carry. You're not a person, you're property. Congratulations, you're a Stormtrooper now. And the thing about being a Stormtrooper is that from day one, you learn the cruelest truth in the galaxy. You're not special. You weren't made to stand out. You were made to blend in, to disappear into the ranks of identical helmets and identical voices repeating the same orders in perfect unison. You are the Empire's favorite tool, mass-produced, faceless, and endlessly replaceable. Your existence is proof that to some people in this galaxy, life is just another resource to be stamped, coded, and shipped off to die. Think about where it starts. Camino. The planet is nothing but water and storms, a world where the sky never clears, where lightning flashes across endless oceans, and where you're grown in tanks like crops instead of born into families. The Kaminoans never look at you with affection, only calculation. Long necks bent over data pads as they measure your progress. You don't get childhood games. You don't get scraped knees in the sand, and you don't get stories by the fire. Your lullaby is the hum of machinery. Your first playground is the barracks, where rows of identical faces stare back at you like a mirror you can never escape. And every step you take is training. Every word you speak is programming. Every breath you draw is one step closer to becoming what they need you to be. Obedient. In the beginning, you're a Clonetrooper. There's a little hope there, maybe. You fight alongside Jedi who call you brother. You paint your armor. You carve identities into cold white plastoid, and you give yourself nicknames because you need to feel alive in a system that insists you're not. Rex, Cody, Fives, and Echo. For a heartbeat in galactic history, you almost believe you're people. You almost think you matter. And then Order 66 comes down, and in a single night, everything you thought you were is erased. You turn your blasters on the only friends who ever treated you like more than numbers. You kill Jedi, not because you chose to, but because you are programmed to. Because choice was never really yours. And when the smoke clears, when the Jedi are gone, and the Republic has become the Empire, you realize what you've always been. A switch to be flipped. A pawn to be moved. A weapon with a built-in expiration date. Because here's the punchline. The Empire doesn't even keep you around. You're too expensive, too specialized, and too much of a reminder of a war they'd rather erase. So they phase you out. They toss you aside like old equipment and replace you with recruits. Farm boys, street kids, anyone desperate enough to trade freedom for a paycheck. Clones who survive the transition, they drink themselves into obscurity. They disappear into shadows. Or worse, they train the very recruits who will push them into irrelevance. Imagine fighting tooth and nail across half the galaxy only to be replaced by someone who volunteered for the privilege of being treated like dirt. Now you're in the armor, the same glossy white shell plastered across Imperial posters, and sure, from the outside it looks intimidating. Stormtroopers look like fear itself, faceless, unyielding, a tide of soldiers blotting out hope. But wear it for more than 5 minutes, and you'll realize how miserable it is. The ventilation is a joke. The visor fogs up the second you start running. The boots trip you on flat ground, and don't even think about aiming properly. The helmet narrows your vision so badly, you'd be lucky to hit the broad side of a bantha. That's why rebels laugh. Why smugglers crack jokes about stormtroopers never hitting their targets. And the worst part, deep down, you know they're right. Training isn't much better. You're broken down, rebuilt, and told over and over that individuality is weakness, that questions are betrayal, and that fear is treason. You don't get to ask why, only how high. You're told the Empire is order, and the galaxy is chaos without you. But in the back of your mind, you know the truth. The Empire doesn't care about you. They never did. You're not order, you're inventory. And then come the assignments. Maybe you think you'll get stationed somewhere easy, guarding hallways on Coruscant or shaking down shopkeepers on some backwater moon. But the galaxy doesn't hand out mercy. If you're unlucky, and most of you are, you'll find yourself on Scarif. Scarif looks like paradise at first. Blue oceans, white beaches, swaying palms. The kind of place you dream of retiring in if you ever lived long enough to retire. But Scarif is no paradise. It's a fortress. And when the rebels hit it, it becomes your tomb. The towers you were told were indestructible crumble under the weight of X-Wing torpedoes. The sand scorches beneath your boots. Your armor turns into an oven, and the sky itself explodes when the Death Star fires. You're buried under fire and glass, and no one ever remembers your name. No songs, no medals, no statues. Just silence. Or maybe you draw Endor, a forest moon where sunlight trickles down through trees taller than skyscrapers. It could almost be beautiful if you weren't being hunted like prey by teddy bears with rocks. You ride speeder bikes at breakneck speed, trees blowing past, your stomach twisting every time your visor fogs up. And for what? To lose to log traps and slingshots. To be remembered not as warriors, but as the Empire's biggest joke. Imagine spending your life in endless drills, endless marches, and endless obedience, only to be taken out by Ewoks with sticks. And then there's Hoth. Ice cutting through your armor, winds howling so loud you can't hear yourself think. You march because you're ordered to, because there's no such thing as retreat in the Empire. Even when your fingers are numb, your blaster jams in the cold, and your AT-ATs topple like toys tangled in wires, you're not conquering heroes. You're frozen meat waiting to be scraped off the battlefield. Even off the battlefield, life isn't much better. You sleep in bunks, stacked like cargo holds, eat gray nutrient paste that tastes like glue, and spend your days polishing boots and following orders that never end. Privacy? Forget it. Freedom? Doesn't exist. You're not TK421, the man. You're TK421, the number. And if you step out of line, you're gone. Vanished. Another trooper takes your bunk, another helmet fills your spot, and nobody ever mentions your name again. And no matter what you do, you're still a joke to the galaxy. Rebels see you as clumsy cannon fodder. Civilians see you as faceless bullies shaking them down. The Empire sees you as nothing but statistics. And the First Order, they don't even give you the chance to sign up. They steal you as children, strip away your family, your memories, your entire identity. And if you ever dare to resist, if you ever dare to believe you're more than what they tell you, you're branded a traitor and hunted down. Just ask FN2187, the one Stormtrooper who decided he wasn't going to keep marching. You probably know him better as Finn. Quick favor before we move on. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 93% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video. So add it all up. Born without choice, raised without love, trained without mercy, armored without comfort, sent to worlds you'll never really see, to die in wars you'll never really win. When you lose, you're mocked. When you win, no one remembers you. And if you survive long enough to question any of it, the system you served makes sure you disappear before the thought spreads. That's why it sucks to be a Stormtrooper.